Iconoclast Speaks.
Hello and welcome to the Iconoclast Speaks. I am the Iconoclast, and with me is Dad Bod, everyone's favorite speaker.
Guy, bro.
Dude.
Bro.
Yeah, because we haven't had F-Boy in forever.
I know.
He's a freaking slacker.
I know, hold on. Just a little reminiscent.
Whatever.
Made me feel good.
So
It was good. No, it wasn't. No.
Well, it's irritating bringing up Dad Bod. A lot of people,
Oh, yeah. That's
or
good.
not Dad
That's a
Bod,
good
F-Boy.
segue. That's a
But
good segue.
bringing up F-Boy, a lot of people thought he was a homeless guy. And so we thought we'd talk about homeless. And I actually have a story about, I'm going to kind of talk about homeless people, but also about kind of like the panhandling homeless people.
Yeah, that's something that I wanted to separate.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference between not having a house and being like a beggar.
Yeah. And so, but my story goes along with people who are beggars, or it was a homeless guy, I suppose.
You
Possibly.
don't know.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So this was when I was living in Florida in St. Augustine. And there's this street in St. Augustine called St. George Street. It's pretty cool. It's blocked off. You can walk up and down. There's all these restaurants. And if you go down there now, the restaurants are like off the charts
Super
awesome.
fancy.
Oh, they're so cool. And they're like, there's bars and there's, stores. It's a fun place. You can go with your family. It's kind of like a small version of Bourbon Street in Orange. And there's no cars and you can just wander around. It's a good time. And we used to go down there all the time. There's a place called Sangria's and Stogie's, and we used to go hit those places.
I like both of those things. So places.
Yeah, and they're great. And they have great, jazz.
Nice.
Well, my friend and I were walking down the street one time, and this guy comes up to me, and he's, he looks home. He kind of looked like F-Boy. He's like had the big beard, but it's gray, and he's old, and he's telling me the story. And he's like, "Hey man, I'm trying to get down to Melbourne, which is about 3 hours."
Australia?
No, okay. Melbourne, Florida.
That's way farther.
Yeah, it's 3 hours south of St. Augie. And gave me this story about how he was $20 short of
That's convenient.
his Greyhound ticket.
Yeah.
He needed to get a Greyhound ticket. He wanted to get down to Melbourne, see his daughter, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, that's cool, man. I get it. And I was feeling nice. So, and I was like, yeah, I got some, I had a good job at the time. I was single and I was making, good money for a single guy.
So you were just
So I was like,
making it rain.
Dance for me.
Yeah.
And so now I gave him $20, and I was like, cool, see ya, have a safe trip. I was very nice, gave him money, and went. And we went on, had our party. The next Friday night, I'm back on St. George Street with my same friend,
Same guy.
walking down the same street. Same homeless guy comes up to me and doesn't recognize me.
Obviously,
Starts
sees
giving
people all
me
day.
right.
Same spiel.
Exact
Like word for
same
word,
word
like
for word.
script.
He starts saying, he goes, "Hey man," I'm looking at him. He goes, "Dude, I'm trying to get down. Are you trying to get to Melbourne?" And he looks at me. I
He's
go,
like, "Oh, crap." That probably happens
"Do you need $20? Are you like $20 short?" I mean,
Almost exactly.
I started saying it back to him, and my friend is like, "What?" And I went off on this guy in front of 30, 40, maybe 100 people on St. George. I was like, "Dude, you're a liar!" And I was like, "Bah, this guy is just taking your money. He's lying. He doesn't need to get to Melbourne. He wants your money. He's going to go drink or get drugs." And I was like, "I'm gonna," and the guy was just like, "Dude, man." And he's trying to make a news story about, "It's because it turned out the ticket was more." I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, and it took you a whole week to get out." I was off the charts angry.
Jeez.
So that kind of burned me.
I can feel the emotion's still there.
Yeah, well, now when I see people like in Frederick, we see them all the time outside Walmart signs. And the thing that irritates me is and then at Walmart I always see signs they're hiring. Cross the street at Arby's, they're hiring.
I drive around all day for my job, and literally every place, maybe except for two, are hiring. And there, people have I was talking to my partner one time, and he's looking at the guy's sign, and he was like, "Well, that guy's different because he's willing to work." I was like, "Nope. That's all the story, right?"
Yeah.
Because my biggest thing with it is that there are ways to help people like that.
Yeah.
There are services, right? There are shelters. There are a lot of places that you can go, and where you can spend your rich person guilt money on actually helping in a way that's monitored, right? But these people that are, homeless. Not all of them. I mean, some of the beggars, they're not always like drugs or whatever. Some of them are just, I guess, lazy. I don't really know, but
well, some of them get a lot of money from it.
Yeah, and then there's also a lot of homeless people that have a lot of pretty serious mental illnesses. But I think, when I see somebody that's homeless on the side of the road asking for money, I kind of think about what I don't know how you feel. There's almost no chance that I would be in that situation. I know for a fact that I would never end up in that situation.
Right.
I don't know why I know that. I feel pretty confident.
I think you have the personality, and it's a lot like mine, that you aren't going to just fall on the government dime and just or just give up.
Yeah, and right. And then then the only thing that I could really think of, the only thing that I could kind of identify a little bit with would be like, well, maybe they're just like complete drug addicts, right? And then they, they're at their house and maybe their parents or something, or maybe their spouse is fed up with them, kicked them out of the house, right? So now they're homeless, and now they're still trying to get drug money, right? Because they're still totally addicted to drugs. And then you give them money because you feel bad because they wrote that they would work on their sign or something like that. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, this guy has a new enabler, right? Yeah. His life is still not getting in order.
Right.
He's still rock bottom, dragging along, I don't know if they have kids. There's a lot of, I guess I build up a very big, grand, terrible fucking story because, what else would make you live on the ground?
A whole novel for each person.
And I just look at the person and I just think that there's absolutely no way that me giving that person cash is going to help them.
Yeah. Well, one thing, like my wife and kids put together, I don't know if it was for school or what, but they put together these bags. And in it is crackers and bottled water and toiletries and stuff to give to, and you can tell right away.
Makes them mad.
Yeah, here they had it, but here you can have this.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I don't want that. Or I've also down when I was in Tampa, and there was a guy, and he was saying, man, I just need money for some food. Oh, come on, here, I'll go buy you a burger.
Yeah.
And he about flipped out. Like, no, I don't need. It was almost like he's getting ready to say, I don't need your charity.
I don't need your hand. Oh, wait, actually, I do need your charity.
Wait, I want your money.
No, I really
want the burger you offered me.
I was, when I was in either 7th or 8th grade, I went on like a mission trip kind of thing, but it was to southeast DC. Mm-hmm. We went to a church in Anacostia and helped them clean some stuff and things like that. And then, but we also, as part of that, we made a whole crap load of sandwiches and stuff like that, and we were handing them out, and everyone was all happy and stuff, and they're like, oh, thanks. And I could tell, I couldn't really tell at the time. Maybe they were genuinely happy about it because it was kind of an organized thing where they kind of knew we were coming and a bunch of them showed up. We had all the food. It's good to go. But then, so those people might have been legitimately down on their luck. And we also went to a homeless shelter and took a tour there, and then kind of as a way to explain to us there are alternatives for what these people have out on the streets, and we're trying to offer it here, and some of them refuse it. And then, because they also had to be totally sober to be in that place, So then, we were oh, cool. We had this couple of days of kind of almost very nearly life-changing experience until we all went out to a restaurant, and then we got served family-style food at this German restaurant. It was awesome. Yeah. And then we got a bunch of food. They put in to-go containers for us, and we had this 2 to-go containers full of food. Oh, wow. And this guy who had one leg, and he had some kind of, and it was it was in, how old was I? So it was maybe in 2003, so and he had 10? No, it was a little older than that. 12. I was 13. No, wow. I was 13. So it was 2000. It was 2003, right? So this guy who was a homeless panhandler guy, I guess, he had some sort of digital device in his pocket with headphones in 2003.
Nice.
I know, right? He must be doing pretty good, right?
Pretty good homeless.
So, but he had one leg and he had a crutch, and he was kind of doing the thing, and then he was like, "Hey guys, do you guys have anything to spare or whatever like that?" And we were like, "Well, actually, we have all this food. We didn't touch any of it. We were served family style. It's just the leftovers. We're gonna bring it back." And then we tried to give it to him, and he got pretty mad. And I was like, "Oh, well, this whole trip was a waste then, because I'm right back to normal." My initial reaction almost 100% of the time, which is why I think I have to tell myself that story about how someone's life could end up like that is to just be furious. As soon as I see somebody begging me for money, especially if I'm on my way home from work.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm like tired and like sweaty driving home from work, and I see some guy with like a sign, and he's like, I'm just like, there's no chance I want to give you any of this money I just worked for.
Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah.
Right.
Now there is another time, like, and this was this past year, and I was feeling again very nice, but it was I was at a gas station, and this guy comes walking up to me. I get up like real early in the morning, like 3 in the morning to drive to work, and this was like 3 in the morning at a gas station, and he's there, and he's got a car, and his wife is in the car, and they have a kid, and he's like, hey man, I ran out of gas. He goes, is there any way you can give me like, you know, some
$20 short of my Greyhound.
But he didn't give me an exact amount. He's like, I just got to get to Hagerstown. I need to put some. Can you give me some cash? I go.
Sure.
I go pull up to that pump there, pump 6.
I'll use my card.
And I went into the.
Oh, nice.
I went in and
Nice.
gave an amount.
Oh, nice.
And I said, you know, here's put like $6 on pump 5.
Yeah.
And he actually was thankful. So then I was
nice.
like, okay, so he probably is legitimate.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, oh man, if you give me your address and stuff, I'll pay back. No, no, don't worry. Because one, I didn't want to give him my address because I was afraid he might show up and then.
Especially if he's
from
Hagerstown.
Hagerstown.
Heyo.
Sorry, our viewers in Hagerstown, but you guys are shady. But
I was hanging out with a bunch of people when I was in Baltimore. No, I was in Beltsville, which is like it's like almost exactly between Baltimore and DC. And it was a work thing, and all these guys were sitting around talking about how this guy was talking about how like where he's from is super hard in DC, and then this other guy was like, hey man, you know, Maryland's got some tough spots too. He's like, you know, places like Baltimore and Hagerstown, and I was like,
Hagerstown? What?
And I was like, Hagerstown? And he's like, yeah, Hagerstown. And I was like, really? Because that must have been recent, because my dad used to live in Hagerstown. It didn't seem that bad at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I've been over to Hagerstown.
It was a while ago.
They have a Lowe's.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have a friend who lives over there. I mean, he used to do the show with me. His name's John.
What's up, John?
Yeah. You're not on the show anymore.
But you're still good because there's a Lowe's there.
Mm-hmm. But he's probably brought that place down.
Yeah.
So anyway, so like I said, what are your stories about homeless people? What are your thoughts? Like, do you differentiate homeless and panhandlers? Have you had an experience with someone who is a panhandler or a homeless, and how did you deal with a homeless person? Or
They're a member of our transient population.
Yeah,
okay.
Transient. Yeah, transient American. You know, what are your thoughts? And we'd like to hear it. If you are a transient American and you're listening to us on your awesome, cool iPod, or your
whatever it was,
or your Zune.
It might have been a Zune. He probably pulled it out of the garbage can.
And that's where you find them to this day. But if you're listening to us, check us out on Facebook, because I know a lot of transient people do have Facebook.
They do.
And so
you can have a computer and a car and be below the poverty line.
Yeah, there you go. Check us out on there, and you can check out our video. We'd love to hear from you and join our community. And again, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time.